pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, is this meeting been advertised according to law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it has.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Here.
Mr. Newton?
Here.
Mr. Travisano?
Here.
Mr. Palando?
Here.
Mr. Zelina?
Here.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
First order of business is approval of minutes for prior meetings held 6/22/17, 7/20/17, and 8/17/17. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes?
Mr. Zelina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Next order of business, 6A, authorization for payment of bills non-NL. That's A through R. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes?
Mr. Zelina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Next order of business, 6B, authorization for payment of bills NL-related, non-escrow, to be paid when funds are available. And that's letter S through W. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes?
Mr. Zelina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Next order of business, 6C, authorization for payment of bills to be paid from escrow accounts, to be paid only if escrow funds are available. That's letter X as in X-ray to PP. I hate when it ends at PP.
Make a motion.
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote. I second.
Who's
second?
moved it?
I never heard him say it, he mumbled
Rennie,
something.
you
He started talking.
What do you want from me?
Did you second?
Yeah,
No, I
he
made a
seconded.
motion.
You
And
second?
And Tom?
Roll call,
second.
please.
I give him one.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes?
Mr. Zelina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Next order of business, pending matters A, waterfront redevelopment project, North American Properties.
Mr. Chairman, Amy from Prudential has called and she'll be here shortly, but she's not here now. So as far as the presentation, she's asked if we could wait a few minutes to begin that presentation, if that's okay with American Properties? And if that's okay with the...
Who's here from American Properties?
Okay.
Everybody. Okay with you guys? Sure. Leaf Industries is off the agenda tonight.
That's,
Thank you, Chairman. They've asked, they knew we had a full meeting tonight. They've asked to come in the October meeting instead.
Okay, MEC land pilot.
this is just a reflection, Mr. Chairman, of the fact that the council has approved the reduction in the pilot payment, which we had previously approved and recommended to them based on the reduction in the power of the power plant, the size of the power plant that's being approved.
No action by us tonight?
No, just more informational than anything else.
No one else on that? Okay.
No, nothing further.
DPRC River Road, the COA application.
That was primarily a follow-up on our special meeting that we had with regard to it, or our subcommittee meeting.
And Chairman, since it involves potential litigation and contract negotiations, I think we can give the update in the executive session.
Okay.
I can report in open session that at court on Tuesday, the judge granted SERA's application to intervene in the litigation.
Okay, I guess we'll go into closed and then we'll call you guys in after,
So what he's telling you is you need to leave.
But in the meantime, just let us know if, Amy.
We never conceived that the planning
The way that's written.
No, keep that up.
It might
Joan,
be
you back on?
interpretation.
Back on, okay. All right, North American Properties, who wants to go first?
I'm gonna start. I'm Amy Ziegler. I work for PGM Real Estate. And I just want to thank everyone for their patience as we kind of worked through the process of finding a replacement developer for O'Neill for our project. And so tonight here, I wanted to introduce North American Properties. We have come to an agreement on them, joining us in the development of the project. So I thought I would bring them in to introduce them.
Thank you.
You can-
Okay, thank you. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Mark Toro. I'm managing partner of North American Properties Atlanta, and we have much of our team here tonight. We've been here for the last few days working to advance the project here in Sayreville. This is a bit of a homecoming for me. I grew up in Jersey, Warren County, a little town called Belvedere, and went to Rutgers. Met my wife in New Brunswick. She's from Freehold, so it's really kind of it's great to be back. One of my first projects in the development business was in South Brunswick, so Middlesex County is someplace that we're quite familiar with. But I wanted to share with you some thoughts relative to where we think we can proceed with the project, and thanks, as Amy suggested, thanks for being patient as we went through the process. We've been working with PGIM for about 6 months to try to assess what this opportunity means to Sayreville, and what it means to PGIM, and what it means to North American Properties. Got a little bit of a presentation for you this evening, and I've got printouts I'll share with you when we finish. But obviously, you know the site way better than we do. You've been living with it for a very long time. We think this is her better side. But just a little bit of what we understand to be the history, and hopefully you can correct me if I'm wrong, because we are the new kids on this block. In '99, the waterfront development plan was adopted. In '07, O'Neill Properties Group was selected as redeveloper. In '08, PGIM joined O'Neill, forming Sayreville Seaport Associates SSA, which is the current owner of the property. In '08, SSA, the county, SERA, and NL, a national lead settled. In 2008, SERA redevelopment plan was approved. In '09, the environmental remediation began and continues to this day. In '14, the ERG was approved by New Jersey EDA. In '16, PGIM became the managing member of SSA. In '17, we began our due diligence, and we have now just recently reached agreement, and we intend to proceed with the development of this site. We were actually introduced to this property by a mutual friend in the industry, a private equity fund out of Philadelphia called Leeward Adler. And when we first met, we actually met O'Neill first before we met PGIM. And we view this, and having grown up here and knowing how prominent and how high profile and how visible this site is, I personally viewed it as one of the best pieces of real estate on the Eastern Seaboard, and it really has tremendous potential. We think that we have the opportunity here to do something really extraordinary. So a little bit about what our plans are. We intend to develop, and this is a very early concept, 5.8 million square feet of experiential mixed use, and I'll describe to you what I mean by that. Retail, office, hotel, and residential. But before I get into the program, a little bit about the company. North American Properties is a Cincinnati-based, privately held real estate development company founded in 1954. I founded the Atlanta office in 1996. I left Jersey in '81. My wife and I, she and I met in Freehold. Met in New Brunswick. She's from Freehold. She moved to Atlanta to go to school, and I got lovesick and broke and followed her there. I've been there ever since. But we have developed close to 20 million square feet of retail, 4 or 5 million square feet of mixed use office, 20,000 or so residential units, and have about $5 billion of development acquired, developed, or managed. We're close to $2 billion in the pipeline currently in 6 states. It's a rather, we like to say we're the biggest little company you've never heard of. But one of the things that we're most proud of is our financial strength. The Williams family founded Western and Southern Life Insurance Company in the late 1800s. The real estate company was founded in the 50s as the real estate management arm of the life company. When Western Southern Life Insurance became Western Southern Financial Services Group, they divested. So the real estate company is a standalone company with common ownership in the life company. And through the 50s, 60s, and 70s, pretty much stayed close to home, the Ohio River Valley, and we're very much engaged in all aspects, from regional malls to small shopping centers to condominiums and single-family residential and virtually everything. In the mid-'80s, Tom Williams, who's our current CEO, joined the company and took over the control of it and started regional offices in I guess now 4 cities: Cincinnati, Atlanta, Dallas, and Fort Myers. Through that time, we've built relationships with institutional equity investors, like PGIM as an example, and with commercial banks. Maybe the most notable aspect of our business is that in 63 years, we have never given an asset back to the bank. That's something very few of our peers can say. It's because of the financial depth and strength that during the Great Recession, when people were folding up their tents and sending the keys back to their lenders, we worked things out. And in some cases, we bought our own loans back. So it's something we're very proud of. Through the first 30, 40 years actually of our ownership, we self-funded, internally funded equity. And it wasn't until projects got larger and more complex that we started working with institutional investors. So we now have relationships with GE and Morgan Stanley and Cole Capital and Seraphim and CBRE Global Investors and others. And the commercial banks who were our lenders pre-recession are our lenders today. So we still maintain those financial relationships. From a project experience perspective, we've done, like I said, 20 million square feet of retail and 20,000 residential units, but there are a couple of projects I wanted to point out that are pertinent to this opportunity, and they are because they are large-scale mixed-use projects. Marketplace at Mill Creek is a 150-acre site that is multifamily, single-family, hotel, office, retail, restaurant. Cave Creek Marketplace is 270 acres near Hartsfield International Airport in Atlanta. That is similarly big box retail, soft goods, restaurant, grocery, entertainment, multifamily, single family, hotel, and office. But maybe the most pertinent project experience is a property that we recently developed. This is the vacant site that we acquired out of foreclosure in July of 2011. This is a property that is now nearing completion. This photograph was taken in April of 2017. And Avalon is what we call every food group. It's single-family residential, multifamily residential, large format retail with Whole Foods and Regal Cinemas. It's lifestyle retail from everybody from Lululemon to Free People and restaurants and entertainment and hotel and office. It's every aspect. Lifestyle retail, 485,000 square feet. I lost my clicker. Entertainment. Sorry. There you go. And I think this project may be the best example of what it is we intend to pursue here in Sayreville. This is what we believe to be the next generation of commercial real estate. We call it a city within a city. It's 2.5 million square feet. It's $1 billion in value. It's about the size of what we would propose here on this property, and then some. You know, we expect to build considerably more residential here, more office, more retail. But the key is that the residential over retail aspect, the Main Street component, is where all the energy is created. Chef-driven local and regional restaurants are a critical critical component, as is soft goods retail. And the notion that we have created in this suburban, it happens to be Atlanta, Georgia, but in this suburban Atlanta community, the third place after work and home, it's where people come to be. It's where people to come to be entertained. We host 200 plus events a year. We have a team of 18 full-time people who run this property. This isn't a shopping center where we sweep the parking lot and change the light bulbs. This is a property where people are entertained on a daily basis. We built a plaza that was specifically designed to house an ice skating rink exactly the size of Rockefeller Center, only so that we could say that it was the size of Rockefeller Center. It's the only reason, so that it would work in people's mind's eye. Avalon has won virtually every award there is to win. ULI Project of the Year, Atlanta Business Chronicle Project of the Year, virtually everything else there is relative to engagement of the community and social media and PR and events and activations and everything else. But the key factor is the job creation. 1,000 construction jobs per phase, 1,500 retail sector jobs, 3,750 office jobs, 2,000 service jobs, $21 million in annual sales, that for sales tax revenue, $4.5 million in annual property taxes, $1 million in hotel taxes, and a $245 million incremental value creation. So this is in a community much the same size as Sayreville. This city is called Alpharetta. It has a population of about 45,000. It is lives in the shadow of Atlanta. It's 25 miles outside of the CBD of Atlanta, Georgia, much like Sayreville is, 30 miles outside of New York City. And there are lots of analogies. And what we found was that this was grossly underserved in a lot of aspects, but mostly with respect to a lifestyle component. And I think we can bring that here. So relative to the next steps that we have before us, and there are many. First, we have just recently signed a term sheet to form our JV with PGIM. We will at some point, when this board is ready, seek to be named as the redeveloper for this site. We're going to share with you everything you need to know about us, and if you need to know more, and at the appropriate time, we'd like to be named as the redeveloper. We intend to complete the remediation at some point next year. We will announce the joint venture. Actually, that says 10-4. We're actually now looking at an announcement date of November 9th. With the gubernatorial election and lots of things going on in the state of New Jersey, we think it's probably best to hold it. The week of the 6th of November, we'll hold a master plan charrette here in Sayreville. Bring our design team, invite any Sayreville board members, whether it's planning board, school board, SERA.
Excuse me one second. The 6th, I think, is a council meeting. The 7th is that Tuesday, Chair. Because if there's a council meeting, that may be tough to do.
Okay.
So
and we certainly will.
Yeah.
Right,
so because an election day is the Tuesday, so there is definitely a council meeting that Monday.
Okay, well, we're actually here 3 days, 6,
So
7,
we
and
should
8.
pick another date now because you're not gonna get the audience you want, and the council won't be able to be there
right.
Okay.
because the people that'll be
Try to do
running
it
are still working on getting it.
Okay.
all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll do that. And then we have a function every year. International Council of Shopping Centers is essentially an opportunity for commercial real estate developers to present opportunities to retailers. It's in New York City every year in November. There's another one in Vegas in May. There's one in Atlanta in October. So we're racing to get ready for that, to present this as an opportunity to the retail community. We are in the process of recasting the Bass Pro Shops lease. So as you know, O'Neill had a lease with Bass Pro. They were very heavily engaged in this opportunity. They still are. We were, in fact, part of our team was in Springfield, Missouri last week. We visited with them about a month ago in Springfield with their design team, their legal team, their leasing negotiators.
and we're in the process of amending that lease. Our goal is to get them in the ground and under construction as soon as possible, but at the moment, there is no lease because the time has lapsed. But they're every bit as interested as ever, and if you go to if you've ever been to the mothership of Bass Pro, it's a spectacular experience. It's a tourist attraction, literally, all over the Midwest.
So the problem that we have right now is the sign up there and saying 2017.
We were just talking about
Okay, so we're gonna need to take that down, because the people.
Or you want to change
Or
the
change
date.
the
Change the
date.
date,
Change the
yes.
date.
I'm
Not
sure.
taking it down.
Not taking it down.
Sure.
You gotta have a
Correct me.
date first.
Man, they all jumped on me. Just, we need to correct the date, because we're taking a beating on that date.
Certainly. Duly noted. So it's a matter of renegotiating that lease, getting, their plans have been bid, so they're ready to go, we're ready to go. It's a matter of getting through the engineering and permitting and getting vertical. Next is the ERG, which, as you know, is a significant financial component to this project. It will have to be recast as well as we evaluate our plan. As you may recall, the plan was for essentially a large regional mall, which, as you may also know, is not a viable commercial enterprise any longer. I mean, there hasn't been a regional mall built in America in many, many years, and is not likely to happen here in Sayreville. So the idea that we would build a project that was similar to Avalon in scope and scale, residential over retail with a main street and create an experiential, is what we will do. So that will change the underwriting with New Jersey EDA. We met with them 2 weeks ago, and have begun that process. We will be back before the borough with our application for the pilot, which was in negotiation, and we'll have to reopen that negotiation as well. And then we'll need to amend the redevelopment agreement and site plan, because the site plan is going to change. We don't know yet what the specifics of those changes are, but it's going to be a process that we'll undertake over the coming months, and then we start. So those steps seem like, it's just bullets on a slide. It's a very, very heavy lift, and the team behind me here is just a small piece of what we've now engaged in this effort. So we're underway. We're here to answer questions. We're here just to introduce ourselves and introduce our plan, our program, and we're open for questions.
Is there a time frame for the Bass Pro Shop to be renegotiated?
Yes. Well,
What is it?
there is a time frame for Bass Pro Shops to be in the ground and vertical. And I'm going to throw it out there as a target, knowing that there are lots of things that have to be accomplished. But we, in our company, we declare the date,
Right.
and that date is April 19th, 2018. There are lots of things that have to happen in order for us to do that.
Right.
But that's when we will break ground and go vertical.
Okay, because that was the first thing that was supposed to be done previously.
I agree.
And
That's
then,
right.
then after that, we had a phasing of like 10 phases, so that's all gonna go away and we're gonna change.
No, there
it,
will
or-
still be phasing.
No, I know, we had, it was graduated as to what was gonna be in each phasing, so it's like, that whole thing has to change?
Well, Don, there has to be a change. If the plan is going to change,
I
the
understand.
phasing's gotta change.
I understand that, it's like, we have to
Chairman,
know
can
what
I
all the
suggest
changes are.
something? Why don't we,
Absolutely.
for these gentlemen and ladies, why don't we have each person tell
I
this
think we're
group who
doing
we
just
are?
fine, Mr. Palando.
You don't want them to
No.
know who we are? No?
Oh, know who we are?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
So you
what I'm
want to do
saying.
one question at a time?
No, I think everybody should introduce themselves. Huh?
Even though we have nameplates, but go
No,
ahead.
that doesn't mean who they
All
are.
right.
Lambeau, I'm a councilman in town.
That's.
Victoria Kilpatrick, also council person in town.
Randy Travisano, member of SERA.
Don Newton, member, Sarah?
Mike Diadio, chairman of SERA.
Mike Baker, counsel for SERA.
Joe Ambrosio, Executive Director of SERA.
Tom Palando, chairman of the Democratic Organization, as well as the commissioner.
Kevin Molina, member of SERA.
Dave Samuels, CME Associates, Authority Engineer.
Anthony Iacoca, young counsel for SERA.
Chairman, would it be appropriate for us to?
Yes.
receive-
Yes,
Sure,
please.
yeah.
Isn't that nice now, Mike?
Thank you.
Justin Long with North American Properties.
When you get married again?
No, he's got it right. I know he asked him that question.
Yeah, I didn't forget. I didn't forget.
2 weeks ago, yeah, thank you.
He says, oh, you didn't forget. I said, no, I didn't forget.
You met Amy, I guess. I'm John Kelly, I'm a partner with North American.
Paul St. Ange, the director of the Gibbons
Yeah,
firm.
you will know.
We know Paul.
John Mooney, Over the Moon PR. You know me.
Tiffany Green, marketing assistant. And I'm Liz Gillespie, and I'm also a partner.
And Ben Friedman from Imbibe Brand Design.
Hey, Joan, you could say who you are. That's our
That's our
recording
secretary,
secretary.
Joan, back there.
I'm Joan.
Can't do without.
She's working the camera.
Thank you, thank you.
I have another question yet. So, amenities, are there any amenities gonna change? Or
What do you mean by
haven't seen them?
amenities?
We had an amenities package with.
The amenities are required for the redevelopment agreement as a condition really of the permitting of the development. So that would have to go through and be negotiated if that
Okay.
is going to change.
Okay, so there's a lot of things gonna be renegotiated, I can see.
Well, that's gonna have to be
Yes.
reviewed, is the
Yes.
bottom line. That all ties in with a number of things involving the pilot, the add-on pilot.
Yes. Right.
And really the density of the site.
Right, exactly, because he did indicate he's gonna talking about putting in more housing too, so it's like.
He didn't say that. He said
No,
he's
he
talking
didn't.
about.
I did.
No, he didn't.
More than our.
More than Avalon.
Okay, you're
More
talking
than
about down
that,
there,
yeah.
but you didn't say.
Yeah, we have
Everybody
626 units of residential.
Well, what about the prices of the units? Because I looked at the prices that you have here, and it's like they're pretty big. You know, you have here for, let's see, the single-family detachable home, 1.78 million.
I have no idea what the price is.
Well, I'm just telling you what it says.
Well, that's what, is that Avalon?
Yeah, and then it has
That's
a
Avalon.
single residential attached home.
Oh, that's the ULI case
749.
study, yes. That's,
Those are
those are the prices.
So I read it.
Oh, thank you.
He reads everything, so be prepared.
We have more copies with us if you'd like us to. Thank you.
How many, you mentioned, obviously, office buildings. I know, how many office buildings are you looking at? Did that change? I know we were talking about 2, right, Dave?
Two plus a potential additional one.
It will change, and it'll change on market demand.
On
And we
market
were,
demand.
for instance, at Avalon, we started with 108,000 square feet of office, now we have 650,000.
Right.
When
So-
can we expect to see a concept plan?
In December.
That's gonna be our Christmas gift.
I have a question for our David. Would it be helpful, you think, if they showed you the charrettes before the November public meeting?
Well, I think the charrettes, if I'm not mistaken, are really working charrettes where you collect the input. So,
Right.
so there, it's,
Okay.
generally, the term charrette is used by collecting input from the public.
Okay, never mind.
So we'll have, if it's 3 days, and we'll have to work on dates, given the election and the council meeting, we'll work with the public to take input 1 day, then our design professionals will hunker down for 2 days of designing, and we should theoretically emerge with a final design, subject only to market. One of the things that's critical about this project is that we will not speculate on anything. We're not gonna build an office building and hope it's gonna lease. We're not gonna build apartments and hope that they rent, or single-family residences and hope that they sell. These will be market proven, and that's a critical component to this entire venture. That this has to be successful. And I think it has to be successful for the borough and for ownership and for the wider community. We expect, this is a regional site with the Parkway 9 and 35 all,
Yep.
and Main Street all providing access. And we expect to draw people from the region.
Okay, and your ramps are well under construction.
They are.
2 of them are open.
We were out there today. It's really spectacular. Spectacular. I've never seen a site with this kind of access or visibility.
Its own ramp.
The ramps, yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, listen, not that we're gonna be critical.
Yeah.
The people in Salem.
Hold on a second, Tom. Joan, you're out of, switching the tape?
Switching.
I'm switching.
responsibilities are just beyond.
She's under what it took just to get the screen and projector.
What I was saying is, when we go back out to the people, this is, we haven't really said anything for probably about a year. So once you're ready for this meeting, we'll probably look to have it at the high school or a place where we could get as many people in there. And have a press conference and so forth, because we really have said very little to the public. We've kept it under wraps, not too many people know that O'Neill was not even there. We did it that way, but, it's now time for us to tell people, because, you know what, they just think that
I didn't think we had a choice in that. That was being negotiated. We couldn't speak to the
Well, I
public
think
about
one of the
that.
things, Tom is saying is that we've got a lot of promises before, and this is no reflection on you. Everything we've seen so far has been very deliberate, and I think our subcommittees can say that and everything else. We need to know that, like you say, you have a date, you have a date, and you're gonna make sure everything is done to get that date. What are you looking for from the agency, say, in the next few weeks or months?
How do we help
And
you?
who are we working with directly to, we obviously have to have, we're gonna have a lot of communication back and forth. What are you looking for from us to help you get to where we hope you all get? And this is a great success as quickly as we can do it.
The answer is anything and everything we need. To be perfectly honest with you, this is an extraordinarily heavy lift. Extraordinarily heavy. I mean, between the environmental concerns and just putting a deal like this together in this day and age is really tough work. And we're up to the task, but we're gonna need all the help we can get. So whether it's the SERA board or the planning board or the borough council or whoever it is that can provide that help for the borough, and we don't expect to waltz in here and say, listen, I need your help, and expect to get it. We're gonna prove ourselves. We expect to put points on the board early in the game. We don't know what those points are yet, but I think you'll see a different program.
Well, we feel we got the best professionals here in this room, and they're gonna be here for you. Just, as Joe said, we just need to make it happen. We want to tell the public. We want to expedite this as quickly as possible, because, we need it. The town needs it, and I would like to see it before I go meet my maker happen.
I think we can move faster
My
than
10
that.
grandchildren will enjoy it, but I, like to see that I was part of it, and really, that's a big thing for all of us. But we've been waiting so long. Dave, what is it all total? Over 20 years, correct? So
Longer than that, probably.
longer than that, you can see where we're coming from, and we don't need any more disappointments. I appreciate that Prudential has moved very quickly to get you people on board. Let's just make it happen.
And as you can see, we have 2 active council people, so they're liaison with us and the council. And, well, with what you're saying in mind, we'll do what we can to try and liaison with everyone else we have to
And if I could
work
just
together.
clarify and expound on what Commissioner Polendo said, at PGIM's request, we gave you the space and the quiet time to put this together, and I'm glad we did. I think it was the benefit of the community to do it that way, to allow you to negotiate peacefully and quietly with our assistance, and I'm very happy that you've gotten to this point. And Paul was very good. Paul didn't tell me when I talked to him yesterday that you had an agreement, so that's good.
Well, thank you. And I would like to offer in closing, we'll stay all night if you like, but this is a very similar circumstance to, as I mentioned, to the Avalon experience. When we acquired that site out of foreclosure, it had sat fallow for 6 years. The previous developer created it, started to build a parking deck, went bankrupt, went back to the bank. We bought it out of foreclosure, and that city of Alpharetta was our partner, and it was a very, very heavy lift. So if you're interested in talking to them about that experience, it was not easy. It was a heavy, long road, and if you're interested in talking to any of your counterparts, city councilmen there, about what it takes to go from this to that, I'm sure they'd be glad to talk through it with you. Because I kid you not, we're gonna be here a lot of late nights and a lot of long hours to get this done. But we're up to the task and we're eager to get engaged. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from your group wish to speak?
Anybody else?
So who's gonna be, I mean, I did that question, who's gonna be your main person
So-
that we'll be dealing with?
So John runs all development for the company, and Justin is our development manager.
Who's
for
gonna be
this
here in
project.
Salem?
Mostly.
We'll all be here.
Down at the trailer.
Various times. And that we're adding team members. In fact, we're interviewing one at dinner tonight.
You going to dinner, you're not taking us?
Tom.
I'm only kidding, I'm only kidding.
He's joking again.
I'm only joking.
It's,
I'm gonna get yelled at for this.
no, it's important that we put boots on the ground, but you're gonna see a lot of us.
Good, good.
And I like coming back, because I get to hang around the Rutgers campus like I was a
There you
kid.
go.
I went by, I was walking on Rutgers campus today, I had my wife on the speaker, on my headphones, and I walked past Stuff Your Face, I don't know if anybody's familiar
Oh,
with
yeah.
Stuff,
Yeah.
Easton Avenue. And I said, Stuff Your Face is still here with Stromboli's.
Yeah.
And the sign says, serving Rutgers since 1977, which is when I went, I'm like, this is old home. It's really great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Any comments from the commissioners?
Exciting moment.
Gotta put a gag on it.
Exciting moment.
No, you're not gonna do
No, I
that.
wanted to ask Hercules, anything going on?
Okay,
Hercules?
quick update with regard to Hercules. Okay, we have almost completed the proposed redevelopment plan. Okay. We're hoping to try and have that to you in October. We're going back and forth with Hercules on a couple of issues, okay, but I think that we should be able to be before you in October, or at least you'll have a draft at that point in time.
They have close to that spur.
Thank you.
Pardon? Yes.
Thank you.
I want to ask.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chairman. All right, so I have a question for everyone here. There's been a lot of discussion about the Morgan section of town, especially that Route 35 corridor, and the amount of vacancies and what we can do in order to revitalize that area. Now, this particular body has been extremely, I think you have one of the best projects in town when you did the Morgan's Bluff. My question is there any way that we can go about looking into possibly doing whatever is needed to investigate whether or not part of that should be put into a redevelopment zone? How would we go?
We looked into that already.
Yeah, there are two other areas that were looked at, okay? The Robert E. Lee area and then the corridor of Route 35. The issue with the corridor of Route 35 is it's too narrow. If we just look at the businesses that face it, you would actually have to include some of the residential to be included into it. And at that particular point in time, when we reported back, nobody wanted to go through and create a redevelopment area that necessarily had to include some of the residential. I should say on the south side of Route 35, where West Marine used to be, and that side, okay, that's probably got a reasonable depth to go through and upgrade it. But there were people that were concerned about being put into the redevelopment area, and I think that's why it didn't happen. But the other side, those businesses are so shallow, okay? You can't really put anything else there other than that. You would have to go through and include, one or two residences beyond that to be able to make a redevelopment zone that you really could go through and encourage some nice development.
How long ago was that redevelopment study done, or that look was done?
That look was done probably close to 10 years ago, right?
7, 8 years, yeah.
I know we got some grief. I mean, we sent letters, we asked people to be in it. I know Archie's Boat Tops gave us a hard time, they didn't want to be in it.
Yeah.
And I don't, people are afraid they're gonna be condemned. you know, oh, you're rezoning us and we're gonna lose our property, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Now, you did that, I personally am not well-versed in how, looking into a redevelopment potential area. Things have changed dramatically in the past 10 years over there. Maybe those same individuals or those same businesses might look at a redevelopment prospect differently.
Well, maybe not, okay?
Right.
Remember, we didn't get too far. We came up with really a concept of what would be nice,
Mhm.
okay? And then it was decided that before we wound up having any major explosions with the residents,
Of course.
okay, that we have feelers go out to the business owners to see what they think. And as Mike said, a number of the business owners were objecting to it, and as a result, it really didn't go anywhere.
See,
We're having the same problem with the movie theater. That guy would be so much better off, National Amusements, if he was in a redevelopment zone. His property would be worth so much
But
more.
I think where Vicky's
And he
coming
doesn't
from,
wanna- he doesn't wanna be
even
in it.
if you look at the businesses there now, you know, they're not surviving. You had the fishery there, that went out of business. You had a
Right.
pizza place, you have a couple little stores there that, who opens, who closes. The West Marina went out of business, which, you know, wasn't that, you know, West Marina was from bigger marinas that were around. All you have is Weber's, and you have the other marina, which has been an icon there probably. Right?
Marine store you're talking about.
What?
The Marine
The
store.
store.
Yeah,
Marine
the
store,
store,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
But, you know, other than that, I mean, we have an office building there that there's no one in. You have used car, how many used car lots?
There's one right by the bridge.
Right. Now, the other place where we approved many years ago, which is supposed to be an exotic used car dealership where they started to
Build
build
storage
it.
site,
Yeah, that has never even been completed.
Finally put the building up.
The building's
Yeah, but
up,
it's
but
a
no one's
shell.
there.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
shell.
not-
I mean,
I know.
so nothing
He
really,
planted grass and all around, he cleaned up the parking lot, he's
Yeah.
done a lot there.
I know, but
there's no business.
there's no businesses there. I mean, the liquor store is finally gonna come. But I agree with Vicky, I know Mike talked about it, and I think if we look at that and could, you know, put that whole section
But
in
Tom,
there.
there's no
both sides.
traffic on 35 anymore there, that's
I
the
know,
problem.
but-
There's nobody to support the businesses that you open up. The diner, you know, he's busy for a couple hours and then the rest of the day is nothing.
Yes, but maybe if we don't know what, you take this developer, maybe he could come up and look at it and, you know, come up with a different plan. I think that's what we're talking about here. You know,
But the problem is that you have to have people that are willing to sell their land or.
Well, I know Webb has mentioned to me that he would be willing to do
So,
it.
so maybe, I'll let David, if we just wanna re-examine, I'm not
Right.
saying make a referral to the planning board and do a formal study, but if we just wanted to re-examine it, maybe talk to some folks out there, are there folks in your office, in your planning department, that maybe take an updated look and talk to some folks?
We can, okay, most of the communication in the past was done between the actual commissioners and the property owners. Okay, that's how we got the feedback, and we were doing it that way in order to minimize cost, because at that point in time, you had less
You had no
revenue.
money.
If anyone has suggestions about anyone that you want to approach, I can do that.
There's a thing in the paper today about,
Mhm.
down there, it's like about Rutgers is gonna do a
Well, that's
survey
one
of
of the
what's going on
reasons-
there, so
Yes.
it's like,
That's-
so if they're gonna be doing something, it's like,
Maybe they should coordinate.
So Rutgers is gonna do some kind of
well,
study of that
that's
area.
that civic organization, there's some kind of semi-civic organization down there who.
Yes, it's
To look
the
into that.
Morgan,
It's the Morgan Alliance, that's one
Yeah,
of the
right,
reasons
yeah.
why I
Morgan
bring it up,
Alliance. It's
is
not Rutgers,
because,
it's a-
well, no, it is.
They're getting somebody from Rutgers to come down and
Oh, they're
do
getting
an
some
analysis.
The Alliance is getting someone from
Yeah.
Rutgers.
You know why I didn't want the meeting on Monday.
And so it's like,
That's one of the reasons why I bring it up, is because, you know, there is a movement there, and the Morgan Alliance and that group of people, the residents that live there, they have a lot of concerns, and they do wanna see that area of town. My parents, my family, everybody is from there anyway. And I'm a part of this board, I'm a part of this organization. And while Rutgers is coming in to turn around and take a look at what possibilities and prospects 35 has to offer them, maybe in mixed usage and other things they can do, I'm appealing to you and saying, what is it that we can offer in this? Can we turn around and try and assist in their efforts, or look at something from our body that we can try and help
I
that
think
particular
we can
area?
let, if Rutgers is gonna be doing some work, and they'll probably have grad students working on it, we can
Yeah.
certainly
Yes.
coordinate and leverage.
We can
We
help
wanna
them
leverage
with
that.
maps, we
Yeah.
can help them with other information, okay? I mean, we can be a resource to
Yeah.
them, that's not a problem. We can even go one step further, and, you know, Joe indicated that he's willing to talk to some of the property owners over there to find out if
I
they're
think
willing.
that's a good idea.
Right,
But-
I think that's a
yeah.
good idea.
And I think those are all pluses. But the real issue is that at the same time that you're looking at redoing that area, you may have to put in a mixed-use development in order
Right.
to go through and do it, which means more residences, and that
Right.
means other things, so
Right.
you have to
I
recognize.
think in the end, that's the only way that area is gonna be
Yeah.
viable.
I agree.
Like mixed use.
It's a dying area,
Yes.
you know, they're clamoring for something, and
They have a meeting, Cody, I'm sure.
Yes,
that's-
yes,
The
they
ale
do.
house, yeah.
the last time they had a meeting, all due respect, there was only 9 people there.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, what we're trying to do is,
Yeah.
if we get that group, our group, let's see what else we can do.
Quite honestly, what it comes down to is, I want to see within this town, agencies coming together that have the same vested interest or the same abilities, whether it be housing or whether it be, you know, development of things like this. Because I think one of the reasons why we have the issue that we have right now facing us with this COA is everybody was operating, or at least, you know, groups weren't coming together. They were operating on their own. The communication wasn't there. And I don't want to see that happen again, especially into a section of town that is my home, where I love and where my whole family is. So, you know, personally.
And that
where
was
we
a
are.
nice area, well, I remember you had the
Still a
bedroom
nice
there.
area. It's
Nice area,
just
but we had,
not utilized
you had
to
the
the level it
bedroom
can be.
there, you had the Benenato property where there was shows there. It was a nice
Well, Brooks,
place.
yeah, they actually
Yes,
actually played
yeah,
some
you
art
know,
major.
I saw all the oldie groups there. I mean, I think it's worthwhile.
I don't
mean,
like when I hear, when people continually use this, you know, Morgan is the forgotten area.
Yeah.
It's not forgotten, I mean, it was a thriving area at one time. Since then, things have changed, so we have an ability to bring it back, or at least study how we can get it done. If this board can offer assistance into it, that's really what I'm asking.
Sure. And, you know, I mean, you can go through and attack it in pieces, okay? And you can attack the south side of 35 as one piece, but, you know, the big problem you have to go through and do is sense the opposition that you're gonna have from the property owners.
Of
If
course.
the property owners are for it in a
Yeah.
particular area, that's good, but if you go to the north side is very shallow, and you would need to go through and include some of the residences in order to be able to have a successful development.
But I like the idea of at least opening the conversation, talking to individual business owners. You actually have the residents of that area, whether it may be a small group of people or not,
Right.
that are coming out and saying, help us.
Right.
They don't have the ability or the means to do it, so I think we have to
Well,
listen to what they're
What
saying
does the
and try to
mayor of
help.
Morgan say?
No, the 3
Mayor of
meetings before
Morgan.
that, Tom, you were at,
I
they
was.
had a large crowd. They
Yeah.
had 20, 30
Well,
people.
yeah, no,
That
the
was-
first meeting,
The
but
first
then-
3 meetings, and the last meeting was over at the Ale House, and
Right.
nobody's gonna go there. When you meet at the First Aid Squad,
Yes.
they had a big crowd.
Well, the
That's
next
a
one's at the
problem.
Monahan House. I don't know why they didn't try
Ale
to
House.
keep it.
No, Ale House.
Ale House
Ale
again?
House, it's still
Okay.
the Ale House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do have, and I was going to speak to Denise Morgan, Miss Morgan, who is really like the chair of that.
About having it.
Well, when you limit your meeting places to, not that the Ale House is not a lovely establishment, but when you limit it only to that establishment for whatever reason, you're not gonna get the pull from people. You wanna, A, be able to have more space, and quite frankly, not everybody drinks and not everybody wants to
That's
be
right.
a
Right.
part of
They're
that
not gonna
type
meet
of
in the bar.
environment. They're
No.
not gonna be
Yeah,
in the
no,
bar.
you're right. You're
And
right.
I have kids, like if I wanna go, I'm
Right.
not bringing Haley and Addie into that
Yeah.
bar.
And you're right, when we went to the First Aid Squad, it was a
Yeah,
big
it
crowd.
was a better
yes.
forum, but there's other areas there.
So Joe is gonna go knock on doors.
Knock on doors. Thank you, gentlemen.
But, so you know the person who's coordinating this then? Rutgers
Well, I know,
person?
not the Rutgers person.
The
Steve
Morgan.
Garillo actually was the one that reached out for the Rutgers individuals, which you, again, you're getting the grad students that are gonna come and devise what they think they can do over there. Denise Morgan is the woman that runs the Morgan Alliance, or at least, I don't know if there's an official term for her position, but she pretty much has taken the reins on it.
When's the next meeting, you know?
October 3rd.
Yeah, this.
October
or
3rd at the L.
Thursday,
What's that,
yeah.
Wednesday?
Next Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah,
Tuesday, this is.
Interrupt this.
yeah, the third is, yeah, third is Tuesday.
Can I have a motion to open to the public?
Make a motion, we open to the public. I make a motion, we close to the public.
Can I have a second to open to the public?
I second.
Each second, I already closed.
That's not,
All in favor, you guys?
Make a motion to close.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna show you this language and then I'll send it to you again, Mike.
Yes, please.
I thought it was a great meeting.
I was only teasing with you, Dave, by the way, so you're still on the good list.
Yeah, you